You don't need a perfect plan to run a perfect scene. You need a move. One clear move. You need the right move that snaps a stalled table back to life. Today, my infernal toddlers with dice, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that with Daggerheart's GM moves, when to use them, how to keep players' success intact, and how to turn hope, fear, and stress into the fuel of cinematic play. Daggerheart gives you an elegant language for pacing. Players speak through action rolls, you answer with GM moves. That back and forth is the heartbeat of the game. If you time your moves, the story breathes. If you choose the right kind of move, scenes sharpen instead of sprawl. If you escalate with care, consequences feel fair and meaningful. By the end, you will know how to choose moves on any result, how to push without punishing, how to squeeze every drop of drama out of the 16 example GM moves. We will walk through softer and harder options, the 5 moments when play turns to you, and how to keep success sacred even when fear is on the table. I will also show you the 3 move chain I use to turn a single failed roll into a whole session of tension without anyone feeling railroaded. So, what is a GM move? A GM move is anything you do that guides the story in response to the players. You are not bound to spells or a list of effects. You shape and facilitate. When you begin a move, your GM turn starts. When your move or sequence of moves hands play back to the table, your GM turn ends. Moves swing on 2 axes: opposition, raising difficulty, introducing conflict, increasing the pressure, support, revealing information, relieving a burden, or opening a path. That ebb and flow keeps play dynamic. You listen. You weave your moment into what the players just did. It's not a vacuum, it's a conversation. And when you make your move, there is one rule of thumb. You can make a GM move whenever you want. You're not an adversary seeking to crush the party. You're a storyteller looking for the next beat, and these 5 triggers invite you to act. They roll with fear on an action roll. The play returns to you. Even on a success, attach a consequence that fixed the fiction. They fail an action roll. Describe the failure and what comes next. If fear is also present, consider a harsher follow-up. They do something with inevitable consequences. Running into a burning building, no matter how high the roll, something follows. Damage, a collapse. Your gear, oh yeah, that just got ruined by fire. You can preface this to set expectations. Maybe they hand you a golden opportunity. They step where the predator waits. They say the quiet thing out loud while hiding in the rafters. No roll is needed to seize the moment and drop a dramatic beat. They look to you for what happens next. The table hits a lull, people glance up. That is your cue for a move that gets things moving again. And remember, not every move wants to be a big swing. You can mark a stress, advance something off screen, defer a consequence that will arrive later. The goal is to keep the story moving with the tone you want, not punish the players. So, how do you choose your move after a roll? Daggerheart gives you 4 quick phrases to resolve results and set the tone. You succeed with hope, yes, and they get what they want and gain a hope. Success with fear, yes, but they get what they want, but there's a consequence and you gain a fear. They fail with hope, that's a no but. They do not get it, but they gain a hope. And failing with fear, that's a no, and they do not get it, and it gets worse, and you gain a fear. Now if we tie them in with your move choice, critical success, let them describe the success, then add extra advantage that fits the moment. What you're doing is showing them the world reacting and opening up a new opportunity. They succeed with hope. You show them how the world reacts, maybe a door falls open to a bigger reveal. Maybe an NPC shifts because of what they just did. They get a success with fear. They succeed. Do not negate it. Add a cost that lifts drama. The blow lands, but the ogre answers with a shove that puts the ranger on the cliff's edge. The stealth works, but a new enemy approaches from behind. You keep the success intact and complicate the path forward. They fail with hope. They miss the mark, but hope glints. Introduce a minor complication or consequence that changes the board. This is a great spot for a softer move. Or they fail with fear. Time for a hard push. Danger closes in. That bad news arrives with urgency. They get separated. An opportunity closes. Keep it fair. Keep it fiction first. If you're ever unsure, honour the obvious move the fiction demands. If nothing's jumping out, mark a stress or say the quiet line every GM should love. Everything is fine for now. Then bring the danger later when it matters or you think of an answer. Don't undermine success. This is vital. When a player succeeds with fear, honour the success. If they sneak past the guards, do not blow a horn at their back. Choose a consequence that complicates the next beat instead. Put a new obstacle at the destination. Have a second patrol on the way. Bring the cost without erasing the win. Also, let the clever play shine. If they circumvent the trap with a smart spell, let it work. You can escalate with new foes or foreshadow a worse problem down the road. Save the immediate shutdown for climaxes, or when a powerful adversary needs to show that the situation is dire. This is the trust that keeps your table leaning in. Softer moves and harder moves. Think of your session as a slope. You often start with a soft move, then climb toward harder moves as you approach the climax. Softer moves share information, set clocks ticking, give space to react. Your harder moves hit now. They close doors, capture, separate, and escalate without asking. On failures with hope, favour soft moves. On any rolls with fear, be ready to bring the harder beat. Your moves set the tone. You control the pressure valve. The 16 GM moves. Now here's the secret weapon that Flamey keeps behind his GM screen. This GM's guide put together by Prince of Nowhere and posted to the amazing Daggerheart subreddit community is seriously one of the best quick references I've seen for any game, not just Daggerheart. The right hand side is gold, a clean list of example moves, colour coded so you know exactly when to use them. Yellow boxes are failure with hope. These are softer moves, the player doesn't get what they wanted, but you toss them a bone with hope. These moves usually open doors, reveal information, or set up the next beat without hammering the party. Blue boxes are success with fear. This is the sweet spot. The players get what they wanted, but you add a cost. The guide shows you the moves that complicate the fiction without erasing the success, like collateral damage, stress, or a looming threat. Purple boxes are failure with fear. That's where you pull no punches. These are your hardest moves. You capture someone, shut down opportunities, or use backstories against them. And the colour? It tells you this is where you'll twist the knife. I love this layout because of how easy it makes pacing. You glance at the colour that corresponds with what the players rolled. You pick a move that fits the fiction, and boom, you're back in the flow. No flipping through pages, no stalling at the table, just smooth cinematic escalation. And I want to give a big shout out to the Daggerheart subreddit community. They're building incredible resources every day. And if you're interested in the GM guide, I'll leave a link in the description, so you can download it, print it, and stick it on your screen, and see for yourself. I want to give you a 5-beat flow for any result. Here is a small rhythm you can apply on every action roll, to keep your pacing sharp. 1. Name what the player wanted. Keep the table aligned. 2. Name the roll outcome in plain language. Yes and, yes but, no and. 3. Choose soft or hard based on hope or fear. Fear invites harder, hope leans to softer. 4. Pick one of the 16 moves that fits the fiction. Start with show how the world reacts. If nothing clicks, look down the list for a move that heightens the current beat. And 5. Hand the scene back with a question or a clear next choice. What do you do? Who moves? Where do you go? This keeps momentum steady and prevents you from over-narrating. Here's some examples. The rogue fires an arrow at a bandit lookout. Success with fear. You honour the hit. The lookout falls. You choose show the collateral damage. The arrow cuts the lantern line. Oil spills. You choose signal an imminent off-screen threat. A bell clangs deeper in the cave. Reinforcements are moving. The guardian charges to silence them and chooses to mark a stress to cross the distance in time. You picked make a PC mark a stress. 3 moves, 1 result. The table feels the cost. The bard tries to read the Duchess. Failure with hope. You give them a hope and go soft. You choose ask a question and build on the answer. What about her posture tells you she's lying to you specifically? They answer. You then choose make an NPC act in accordance with motive. The steward interrupts with a planned distraction, revealing the Duchess is guarding something in the gallery. The party shifts the plan. Last example. The ranger attempts to herd villagers across an old bridge. Success with hope. You honour the success. Villagers move. Then shift the environment. The ropes fray and the bridge begins to go. Now you lean on the character's goals. The child they swore to protect is on the far side, hands outstretched. The ranger makes a new choice, without any push from you. You did not force it, you framed it. Now my molten meatbags of destiny, let's take a look at golden opportunities. These are not traps for your players. It's a moment where the fiction cleanly supports a strong move with no roll. If they stand under the nest of a sleeping wyvern and start shouting about the treasure, You don't need to decide if the wyvern wakes. You spotlight an adversary, it stirs, it drops from the beam. The consequences still need to be fair and foreshadowed. If something would feel like icy water on player excitement in this moment, hold it. You can still escalate in a beat that feels earned. Now let's look at using fear and hope and stress as a creative fuel. Hope is a permission to go soft without losing tension. It lets you add information or position without undercutting danger. Fear is your budget for bigger beats. You gain fear on certain results and you can spend it to make additional GM moves when you're spotlighting adversaries. Fear should not feel like a punishment, it should feel like the story is heating up. Stress is the everyday cost that makes heroism feel real. Offer it as a choice, require it when the fiction is grueling. Always describe the why: physical strain, old scars, pressure mounting. These three elements keep your moves grounded in the rules, while giving you the freedom to be creative. Social scenes. Do not silo your moves to battle maps. A tense dinner, an important negotiation, an emotional confrontation, a letter delivered at midnight. Moves live in those spaces too. Give this sequence a go in a parlay. Reveal an unwelcome truth. The envoy speaks a name the guardian hoped to never hear. Ask a question that builds on the answer. What memory does that name pull up? And what do you do with the anger it brings? Make an NPC act in accordance with motive. The envoy pushes the weak point they just saw. Take away an opportunity permanently. The peace treaty's simplest path is off the table after this insult. A new route exists, but it's longer and more costly. That's how to run a social knife fight with clarity and weight. Here's the 3 move chain for big moments. When a single failure threatens to stall the session or spark frustration, I use a 3 move chain to create momentum without stealing agency. 1. Reveal an unwelcome truth or unexpected danger. You did not open the vault. While you worked the lock, a second mechanism engaged. Now the room begins to fill with sand. 2. Shift the environment. The floor tilts. The sand pours fast. The only high ground is a narrow statue base that will not hold all of you. Lean on the character's goals. The map the scholar wants most is half buried in the first wave. It is reachable, but only if someone leaves the safe perch. This chain turns a failed roll into a decision point that fits the fiction. It invites heroism without dictating it. Players choose the sacrifice. You never negated their attempt. You raised the stakes. Now let's look at advanced timing. How hard is too hard? Use harder moves when fear is present or when the fiction demands immediate fallout. Use softer moves early to gather threads. Let players feel competent while you set clocks. Escalate at the climax. Spend fear to keep spotlights moving among adversaries. Close doors only when you know the loss will empower the next chapter rather than deflate the table. And always ask yourself one question before you make a hard move. Will this feel like a consequence of what the players choose? Or will it feel like a punishment? If it feels like a punishment, pick a softer option, or move the same hard beat to a later moment when it lands as earned. Here are some common pitfalls and how to dodge them. Over-narrating. If you're talking for more than 30 seconds without handing the scene back, pick a move that gives a choice and stop. Punishing curiosity. Curiosity feeds the story. When the players poke the world, reward them with information and a chance to act. Save the bite for fear or the golden opportunities that are clearly telegraphed. Negating success. If they succeed, the door is open. Put the monster behind it, not the lock back in place. Flat consequences. If the cost feels generic, tie it to stress with a reason or to the character's goal. Specific beats generate every time. So my embers of chaos. Don't forget, the story doesn't wait for you to be perfect, it waits for you to make a move. So go run your game, make it count, and as always, stay spicy adventurers.